The right to life and the right of law-abiding American citizens to defend life and to obtain and use the firearms necessary to defend life are under serious assault in Washington, D.C. The word on Capitol Hill is that proponents of nationalized health care, of government-run health care, are in a quandary as to how to proceed with their nefarious plans for imposing their will on the American people. Among the bones of contention floating around Capitol Hill is the attempt to force law-abiding American citizens to pay taxes to support abortion in the United States, whether they agree with this or not, whether they have serious moral objections to this procedure or not. Another difficulty is akin to that. It is the attempt to undermine or to eliminate the ability of law-abiding American citizens to obtain firearms for lawful purposes, including the purpose of self-defense and the defense of the lives of loved ones. The proponents of gun control know they cannot attack the right of law-abiding citizens in this matter directly. After all, 100 million Americans own 200 million rifles, shotguns, and handguns. They are buying about 1 million handguns, rifles, and shotguns a month. Since Obama became president, Americans have bought about 10 million firearms. Public opinion polls show that Americans are becoming less and less enchanted with gun control and more supportive of the right of law-abiding citizens to obtain and use firearms for legitimate purposes. So, what do the proponents of gun control do? What do the enemies of the right of Americans to be able to defend themselves against nefarious criminals do? They use the rubric of health care to undermine the rights of law-abiding American citizens. Here's how they do it. The Obama administration already, through its National Institutes of Health, is undertaking studies to show the relationship of firearms ownership to health. This obviously may be used in an attempt to show that the possession and use and mere presence of firearms somehow constitutes a threat to health. At the same time, under proposals floating around Capitol Hill for reform, for implementation of government reform of the health care system, there is the attempt to take away from the medical profession and to place it in the hands of government bureaucrats the determination of the health care that American citizens would receive. Under this scenario, government bureaucrats would be able to decide who can get health care, how much health care people can get, what kind of health care they can get, and under what circumstances they can get it. Under this scenario, anti-gun bureaucrats could declare that the presence of firearms, the presence of loaded firearms, the mere presence of firearms in the home somehow constitutes a threat to the health of its inhabitants. They then could use government power to deny health care coverage to people with an affinity for firearms or who own firearms or who want to own them for the protection of themselves and their families. This matter is a crucial one. The Obama administration and many of its supporters are proponents of what the late Pope John Paul II referred to as the culture of death. These people believe in the right of the government to force law-abiding citizens to pay taxes to support abortion, even abortion on demand. These same people support the ability of the government to declare firearms somehow inimical to public health and to deny health coverage to otherwise law-abiding American citizens who want to use firearms to protect themselves. After all, Americans already use firearms over 1 million times a year in the United States for defensive purposes. This promotes health because it interrupts criminals in the perpetration of crimes against persons or even prevents the perpetration of these crimes against criminals. The issue really is joined. It is time for Americans of all ages and from every part of the United States to let their representatives and their senators know that they oppose the government attempts to interfere with the right to life of millions of American citizens, to interfere through the health control system with the ability of American citizens to obtain and use firearms for the defense of life itself. There is great hope in this regard. The approval ratings of President Obama for weeks, if not months, have fallen into the minus category under contemplations of the Rasmussen reports, which study in an ongoing basis the voter approval of their president in the United States. It is time for Americans to realize the tremendous strength that people have and to oppose through their congressmen and through their senators the attempt to impose upon the people the ideological persuasions of Obama and his cronies. The time for Americans to contact their senators and their representatives is now.